Hello everyone, welcome to the Basics of Smartboard Hardware and Software for the new Smartboard MX275V2 interactive displays with IQ that we have in the North Reading Public Schools. So some of the bigger changes that are apparent in these boards as opposed to the older boards is that these boards have built-in speakers, they have a Chrome browser that can allow you to surf the web right from the board. They have Google Play access that allows you to access Google Play applications and also access a variety of web apps that you can use with students. And of course, you can also access all of your Google Suite resources and lesson resources that you've used up until this day. It's also exciting to introduce the Lumio software by Smart. This software allows teachers to build interactive assessments which have elements of gamification and engaging features which can be pushed out to student devices. It's very exciting to think about how we can build increased interactivity and engagement with students directly from the board. These boards have amazing ability to interact with students through the Lumio software and also allow you to utilize some of your existing resources that you've already created that you've shared with students. It's important to understand that this video is just an overview of an introduction to the hardware and the software elements of the new boards, and if you have any additional questions, you can always consult your building-based digital learning specialist. The first items I'm going to cover is the connections in the back and to the computer. Currently, the board power switch is on the side of the 65-inch smartboards to the right side behind the back of the panel. On the 75-inch boards, this switch is hidden under the middle of the board towards the back. There's also board power, which comes off the back of the board. Also coming off the back of the board is a USB and HDMI, which comes off of the board. These two cords are the two cords that then get connected to the laptop around the front of the board. If you notice in the picture of the USB and HDMI from the board, you'll also see two antennas. Those antennas are the wireless connection. On the photos of the right, you see the HDMI that comes off the back of the board inserted into the laptop, and you also see the USB inserted into the laptop coming from the board. Now, it is not essential to use a laptop when using these smart boards. You can add content to the boards from the laptop, but you can also work directly from the board. The next item we're going to cover is the interface of the smartboard. The display includes an extensive set of features and components. All of the features I'm going to discuss are available in the Smartboard MX Series Interactive Displays User Guide. So from left to right, you'll see up in the top left is that these boards have touch. There's an accessory slot on the left side. The network connectivity also starts on the left side. On the bottom left side, you'll see that there are inputs for room computers and guest laptops. This will also support additional peripherals, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Also on the front of the board, at the center of the board, you'll see the pen location in the center of the board with a magnetized area where the pens stay. And you'll also see two speakers for audio built into the board. There's a power status light on the right side to the right of the speaker, an ambient light sensor, the sensor for the remote control, and the front control panel is also to the right. On the board itself, on the bottom row, you'll see the IQ Experience apps. Now let's discuss the Smart Right front control panel. These are the series of buttons down in the bottom right of the board. These buttons are unique to this model. The first button is number 1, Home. You can use this to return to the IQ home screen at any time while using the board. Number 2 is Input Select. This will allow you to select different inputs, whether other computers or other devices connected to the board. Number 3 is Screen Shade. You can use this to hide the screen controls behind the screen shade. Number 4 is freeze. This will freeze the screen. 5 will decrease your volume. 6 will increase your volume. And 7 is your power. This is the power button that you'll turn on after the power on the back of the board is on. The next item is connecting room computers and guest laptops. So the diagram on the left is a diagram of the connections on the back of the smartboard and also how those connections will then connect to a device. So you can see there is a VGA port and there's also HDMI ports. So if you want an additional device to connect back there, there's an additional port to do so. There's also a front connector panel. That's the panel that I have the arrow pointing to. This is a panel that allows you to connect a device from the front of the board. The next item is connecting USB drives, peripherals, and other devices. So from the front of the board or from the back of the board, there are USB Type A receptacles. You can use these to plug in keyboards or other devices that are connectors with the iCUE experience. That could be an additional computer. You can also choose to plug in a flash drive to bring files to the board or to save files while working from the board. Next, let's go over the first part of learning about the remote control. So these smartboards come with a remote control. The button identified as 1 on the chart is for power. It wakes it up back into an energy-saving mode. Number 2 is home, which brings you back to the home screen or the input screen. 3 is up and down and allows you to select options through the menu in the settings. 4 is the OK button, which allows you to select items in the settings. 5 is the left and right and allows you to change the value of a selection in the settings. 6 is back. It allows you to go back in the navigation history of where you're accessing items on the board. 7 allows you to check the input sources of the board. And 8 opens the iCUE settings, and that is right directly located in the center of the remote control under the OK button. Let's next go over the Smart Remote Part 2. So the button identified with 6 is a back button, and 7 is the input. 8 is the settings and opens the display settings. 9 is screen shade. This hides the screen contents behind the screen shade. 10 is the freeze frame, allows you to freeze and unfreeze the screen. 11 is volume increase, 12 is volume decrease, and 13 is volume mute. Now let's discuss touch. So you can do anything on the display with the touch that you can do at your computer by touching the display surfaces. There are a variety of gestures with the applications including panning, scaling, rotating, and zooming in and out. Here is a quick diagram which shows the motions in order to do the pan, the pinch to zoom, the 2-finger pan, pinching to zoom with 2 fingers, rotating with 2 fingers, flicking, erasing with a fist, and erasing with the palm. All of these can be done on the interface of these boards and can be an alternative to using the laptop to manage the interface. Now let's talk about the main hardware and software features of these boards that are really going to change your ways of teaching with the board. First is writing, drawing, and erasing. The display comes with 2 pens which you can use to write or draw on the screen. It has object awareness, and the display will respond automatically to the tool or object you're using. 2 people are allowed to write independently and simultaneously on the board. Touch. As we mentioned before, you can do everything on the display that you can do at your computer. That also means accessing applications, whether it be Google, Lumio, or other web apps that you can access through the iCUE or your Google Education Suite directly through touch at the board. The iCUE experience is the connectivity of the board to the wireless resources and web browser, Lumio, GSuite, all of those levels of interactivity to your resources that allow you to create a more engaging environment in your classroom. This includes a new whiteboard experience, wireless screen sharing, and an advanced use of Google Apps for education, and also access to the Google Play Store. The IQ experience is also greatly enhanced with the use of the Lumio software, where you can build dynamic, engaging lessons through this software and push them out to student devices. As our training continues and we move into more of an instructional approach to the training beyond the hardware and software, you'll be able to connect with a digital learning specialist on how to get started with Lumio, your accounts, and how to start building more dynamic content with your students. Now let's talk about getting started with best practices and features to check out. Using the touchscreen in Chrome browser on the board is a great place to start with getting started with the best practice or just checking something out to see how it works. It's very easy to do and can be done in just a few moments at a board. Using smart applications, IQ, widgets, and whiteboard features. Explore the whiteboard, check out some smart applications, or even try the Seesaw application available in the Google Play Store. Widgets are easily configurable and can be added to help students keep track of time or even play simple games on the board. Utilize the board directly with students. Create an interactive game and have students come to the board directly and answer questions. Get started using the Lumio software to build interactive lessons and assessments. Connect with your digital learning specialist on how to get started with the Lumio software and some ideas on how you can start to use it with students. Check out the Chrome Web Store and what's available in the Google Play Store in terms of education apps to enhance lessons. You might be surprised at what you'll find and how those can actually enhance lessons very quickly, and having access to those applications are a great resource from the board. Those are just a few quick ways to get started, and your specialists have many other ideas that you can use to quickly get up and running with your board. Here are a few technical things to remember when getting started with your board. When you turn on the board and when it connects, it should be connected to the MCBI network. This is the network that we keep our student devices and these devices connected to. As you develop and begin to use eventually screen sharing, it will be essential that the device and the board is on the same network. The board will sometimes take a few minutes to set itself up when first turned on. Please give it a few moments to fully turn on and get to its starting point. Also remember, when you use Lumio or GSuite resources, you need to be signed in. Each one of these accounts requires a specific login that may be unique to the board if you haven't been using that board on a regular basis. And finally, let's go over some of the support that you have available to help you get started with these boards, from both a coaching and support perspective. So we have the specialist available to help you with instructional support and coaching with these boards. They can help you get started with using your existing lessons that are made in Google or other resources, utilizing Google resources. They can assist you in getting started with Lumio accounts and creating your very first lessons. They can support you with getting started in trying new features. They can help work with you for ideas and resources to get started using new features within existing lessons, and also help you with some goal setting. From a technical perspective, we also know that there'll be necessary update drivers to help improve the interactivity of these boards over time, so please do not hesitate to let us know about having to update the board or if you're experiencing issues. Also, if you're ever experiencing any issues of sound from a laptop to connecting to the board, you can let us know about those issues. Often those are very simple and easy to fix, and they're connection issues. Over time, we'll work with you to make sure you're able to check your connections and make sure things are working accurately and well in your classroom. And also, if you're ever having access issues with Lumio or other issues which are preventing you from being successful with the use of the board. Thank you for taking the time of going through this video, and I encourage you to try these resources out and increase your engagement and your ability to work with students with these great digital tools and resources. Thank you.